Now, pastors have raped women in Kenya. Nobody's angry with them. Pastors, the people you call fathers, I know those. I've even met the third wives of some. I've met people who have had children for this, your fathers, and they came to my office with the children. Some I gave money to. There were some I felt so much compassion. I said, can I even train them in school? But I don't have the money to train them in school. I have seen things. That's why when you call them fathers, I feel sick. It's sickening. It's sickening. It's sickening to call somebody who have children everywhere father of faith. Father of faith is sickening. And the rapture is so close. And these guys are housing people who don't know the Lord. People who get angry at the doctrine of Christ. You stand and preach and say Jesus is enough, and people get angry. No, just check it. How can you stand and preach and say Christ is enough? Who should be enough? No, if not Jesus, who should be enough? You can actually see believers that will be left behind. You can actually see them when you look at the way they react to Bible truth. You can actually know this one, when the rapture take place now, is not going. If they die now and the trumpet sound, they will remain in their graves. Why? Because you cannot go to a heaven whose Christ you hate. The doctrine of Christ today is hated, and the doctrine of firstborn accepted. Doctrine of Christ is hated, and the doctrine of evil altars accepted. Doctrine of Christ is hated, and the doctrine of tithe and offering accepted. That's what almost broke my heart. We have been crying against their walls. You don't use oil, you don't lie down on this prayer point, you don't. The man said they were left behind. He saw them. He said a lot of believers were left behind. Look, what the believers did was crazy. He said they became angry at Jesus. He said they were first of all angry at the pastors. He said believers, was I not saying before that people would beat pastors? The man said believers ran after their pastors to beat them up. They ran after bishops. All these papas now that you are respecting today, that day you will not respect them. You will enter and beat them up. He said believers entered and beat preachers up for not preaching about the rapture, for not warning them, for preaching false doctrines, that they beat them up for preaching. That was what he saw. He said after they have beaten them up, they now turn their anger at God. Why do you send to us such preachers? He said they were so angry at God, they were so bitter at God, they were insulting God. He said the Americans, Christians, were using the words they use when they are angry, putting a finger at God and doing all kinds of things, pointing to Jesus in the sky. He said the fury of believers against God when they were left behind was terrible. The man now said those who knew about the prophecies of the rapture, who did not go because they didn't live their life, he said those ones were the ones who started meeting in groups for prayer. They were the ones who refused to receive the mark. And the man said the mark is actually, then it was a chip. That chip, when they put it in you, it conditions your entire body, metabolism. Your entire body system will be conditioned. You will no longer feel anything bad about evil. The man said, for instance, there was a vision he saw where they cut off the head. A woman stood at this, and they were asking, he and the husband, they were asking them to accept the mark of the beast. They refused, and they cut off the head of the husband. And the woman screamed, and her children, they were big guys, they screamed to collect the mark. When they collected the mark, they were no longer feeling pain about the death of the husband. It was like, it serves him well, that the mark changes your thinking completely and make you satanic. It's a chip. In fact, I sat one down and asked him, why are you calling me arrogant pastor who hate other pastors? What did I do? He couldn't even explain. What I preach and what you are claiming is correct, which one is in the Bible? He couldn't show me. Then why are you angry? He can't even explain why he's angry. That's the mark of the beast for you there. He can't even explain. What are 30% of Christians were left behind. The vision just came a few weeks ago. It's not last year or two, a few weeks ago. He said a lot were left behind. That was the sorry part of that story. A lot were left behind. And a lot of leading ministers were left behind. Look at them. How many churches today, listen, go and sit down and ask yourself, how many churches today are forming Christ in people's character? How many churches today whose focus is Christ in you? All of them is marriage, enemy die, money, you must become celebrity. Your star that have been missing, we must find it for you. Nobody is mindful of it's so painful. It's painful. And yet they don't understand. They don't understand. It's so painful. The funny thing, those who are victims, who are the victims, who are being prevented from making heaven, are the ones insulting us. They're the one calling us names and say all kinds of nonsense. The very victims, the very people that if they close their eyes in death now, they are going to hell. They are the very ones that have become the foot soldiers, defending what they don't know, defending what they don't know at all. They don't even know. They don't understand the war. They don't understand the enemy. They think it is an evil altar, which even the pastor cannot even. I've told you, call the pastors, ask them, how does evil altar look like? They can't explain. They can't even. If your moral life is zero, you are not rapturable. You could be the best singer in the church. You could be the glorious artist, gospel artist on the face of the earth. Those gospel artists that tell you their stories, even the ones who celebrate. Crazy. I've manufactured a chip actually that when they put in your system, it changes your entire system. As we speak right now, they have tested it on animals. It has worked. So those things are on ground, and they say if you don't receive that, you cannot buy or sell. I told you the mark of the beast after the rapture is a different thing, and I've preached to you that even before the rapture, there's a template of the mark which people are already receiving, and that template is called iniquity. Once the spirit of iniquity enters your heart, you have no feeling towards God. If you are in church, you'll be completely lawless, and you will think that God will forgive you for all your lawlessness, because that mark is in your spirit. The mystery of iniquity is the mark of the beast before the rapture, and the chip is the mark after the rapture. The mystery of iniquity. Now listen carefully. Those things shook me to the foundation. And when he said this crowd of Christians, if I have seen that 30 years ago, I would not have known why would Christians be left behind. But now with what I see,